IG's turn to ban. DK's turn to ban. IG's turn to ban.
Okay, hello everybody and welcome back to your coverage of the Redbull ECL. This is our grand final and it's IG versus DK. What's starting to become a little bit of a grudge match. We did have the game rescheduled, but looks like we managed to start just a little bit earlier. I think the StarCraft 2 wrapped up fairly quickly. So I'm basically here providing coverage on behalf of Beyond the Summit. And while Winter didn't manage to make it into the lobby because we started a little bit earlier, hopefully we can get him in and we can sort out what we're doing. So I'll just grab him right now and we can get ourselves underway. So let's just quickly remind everybody of the stakes while I try and get a hold of Winter. So the total prize pool is about 23k. This is again grand finals. Winner is going to be walking away with 16.5k equivalent in USD. And second place is going to be 3.9. It looks like I've now got a hold of Winter, so... Hey Winter, how you doing?
Sorry.
No,
my bad.
It's no problem. I mean, we were told that it was 20 minutes. Yeah, and then it turns out that it's starting now. So, I don't know if we can somehow get you in. I mean, I could jump out and we could both spectate off the ticket. Or I don't know.
No, it's okay. I'll just watch from here.
Okay, so that's going to be very confusing for anybody that's in game. I don't think there's any way that I can fix that. Okay, well, we'll figure something out hopefully by the end of the draft. So, what have we got going on so far? DK are going to get rid of the Alchemist and the Nature's Prophet. IG get rid of the Timbersaw and the Enchantress. So the Enchantress pick that we've been seeing pretty much the entire tournament long is going to continue to resurface in the grand final.
What minute are you at right now?
Oh, the
I just need
Enchantress
to see.
Yeah.
I just need to see how much delay I have.
This is currently pick 4 on my screen. Remaining. It's like 30-40 seconds of delay if you're watching on Twitch. It's not ideal.
5 seconds remaining.
But in the ticket it's like 2 minutes.
Yeah, the ticket is like 2 minutes of delay. Yeah.
DK's turn to ban.
Okay, well, it's only for this game, right? No matter what happens, you'll be fine for game 2. So, I guess options are...
No, it's okay. Just go ahead. I'm actually at 0.26 of remaining ban time. And you should be at the next...
Yeah, Storm Spirit's already been picked on my screen. So.
Reserve time.
Okay, so picks for DK so far, Clockwork and Gyrocopter, pretty safe picks, I would say, overall. IG can end up going for Venomancer and a very early Storm Spirit. You've expressed surprise at Storm Spirit making it really far in some of the drafts that we've had for this tournament, and this time around he's actually going to be within the first phase.
Yeah, he's been getting banned always in the second phase, and if you want the hero, you can only get the hero if you pick him in the first phase. Otherwise, you won't get that hero. Everyone is just banning that hero since he's something very similar to OD. Solo mid, but can carry the game very hard if he has a lot of good start and a lot of money in the early game. So that hero can really be a deadly force if he's played really well. Therefore, the teams that don't really pick him in the first phase won't get the chance to pick him in the second phase.
Yeah. Which I guess the one thing that I can do is I can very laggily share screens if you can see that.
It's okay. No.
No, just
don't do that.
Fair enough.
It's gonna be too lag.
Oh god, it's only for game 1. It's only for game 1.
Yeah, I know how tough is this. I tried this once with T-Burn because he didn't join the game as well. He DC'd the game and he didn't rejoin and they just started without him.
IG's turn to pick.
Yeah, the other... I mean, I could, after the draft, I could jump out, drop 2 minutes back to just watch on the ticket with you, but then there would be no audio in-game for anybody who's purchased the ticket. There would be no English commentary, though this way, there's only half of the English commentary anyway. So, I figure I may as well just I may as well just jump out and then I'll spectate.
Are you sure?
I think so. Well, I mean, what's the point in having half of the commentary, right? Like, if you were watching in-game, would you want just my side? And then I'm like, hey, Winter, what do you think of this? And then it's like, right. I can't actually hear Winter. So, I don't know. I figure let's stick to keeping the presentation for the stream as good as possible, and I'll actually jump out and we'll rewind 2 minutes, I guess. So,
okay.
Yeah. We'll make that call. Hitting this leave game button is gonna hurt, but it has to be done. Okay. And
it's still my fault, though.
Well, kind of. It's also how it was organized.
Yeah, I thought we were 20 minutes ahead schedule, so I wasn't worried.
Yeah. Oh God. I would like to watch game, please. There we go. Okay.
DK's turn.
Oh, hey, I can listen to myself. That's a terrible idea. Okay, so let's just get the camera sorted out, and we are back. Everything is now fixed, and me and Winter are in sync, and we can make some mysterious predictions about what's about to happen because we just saw it. So, guys, welcome back. Everything will be sorted out in-game for Game 2, so big apology to anybody who bought the ticket and wanted the in-game audio. That'll be back for Game 2, but for Game 1, we're just going to have to stick with this. Since they didn't let Winter into the lobby. So, we're now in sync, Winter. What do you make of the draft? Run me through it.
The first thing that comes to my mind right now is the enemy has Storm and DK chose to ban the Doom. They don't want to go for the Doom at all, and they're going to go for like something like a Nyx, maybe a solo mid Nyx. I've seen them prioritize getting a Nyx on a solo mid position if it's against OD, but maybe they're going to do the same thing against the Storm Spirit.
DK's turn to pick.
Yeah, IG do end up picking up the Dragon Knight here, so if DK put a really hard counter to the Storm Spirit mid, then they can always just shuffle the DK there and put the Storm Spirit on the safe lane. So, I think DK, nice bit of flexibility in their draft so far. I guess we won't be seeing a mid Venomancer. There's still the option, however, for perhaps an off-lane Veno for IG, so we'll see what they end up going for. I don't know if I've actually seen off-lane Veno on the Dire side. I've seen it quite a bit on the Radiant. Which is a little bit safer, but I don't know. Have you ever seen it on the Dire?
Haven't really seen IG do it in general, but I don't think that's much difference between the two sides. The Dire side, you can just stack the Ancients and farm it later with the Veno. So I would say both sides has its pros and cons. Doesn't really matter that if you're on Radiant, you just pick Veno there, and on Dire, you don't really want to pick Veno for the offlane. I still think it works on both sides.
Okay, and this draft is, well, to me at least, is a little bit. It's quite different from what we've seen from these two teams up until this point in the competition. So DK kind of swept the group, aside from one game against IG, with their own style, and then IG sort of used that style as well, with the Enchantress DK opening and leading into all kinds of different things. And they also played that, a fair way through the rest of the competition, and now they're meeting one another again in the finals, and both teams are just kind of going back to what seems like a more familiar strategy, as opposed to what they've been running previously in this competition. Though they could still end up playing it in the same way. Whichever team gets a little bit of an advantage is just going to split push, hold on to it, drag the game out, and go from there. But in fact, IG going to take the Chen, so it looks like a decided change of pace here.
And when do we see this happening? Visage picked in the 4th pick. Got ignored so hard already, this hero. All of a sudden, something must have happened in between.
Yeah, it's been interesting. You're right. And it's also varied a lot in this tournament from what I remember. Some games he has been picked up in the first phase. I don't know if I've seen him banned at all, at least in the first 4 bans in this competition. So just goes to show that 6.79 has a huge pool of heroes, and also it's a pretty trendy, Dota is a pretty trendy game as well, in terms of what gets picked, what doesn't. Things completely fall off the map with only minor changes, to the rest of the draft.
5 seconds remaining.
Well, I feel Visage is, in certain ways of the game, very weak against Veno. We've seen a few games where the Visage was made to move by the opposing Venom, where the Venom just roams and creates a lot of pressure, and the other support would just stay in the lane. But because the Venom has been moving a lot, and then the Visage is forced to rotate to help the other lanes, and that is not very ideal. Maybe teams are just finding the game pace more suitable for roaming supports, and Visage is just not so preferred if you just want to sit in a lane.
Yeah, so I guess this last pick from DK is going to determine whether or not they're going to be running the Nyx Assassin on mid or not. I'm anticipating them maybe grabbing something else for mid instead of putting the Nyx Assassin there, though I guess we'll have to see. Is Nyx Assassin much of a Mushi hero, Winter?
Yeah, he's played that hero in the past.
No, the Queen of Pain is definitely a Mushi hero.
But this is a very safe pick, I think. If you put the Nyx in middle, like you said, they could just leave the Dragon Knight instead of the Storm in middle. So the Nyx doesn't really have a good time in the lane. And Dragon Knight trading farm in Nyx, and if your Nyx wants to gank, the DK will take your tower. It's not very ideal too. So you just pick a Queen of Pain, which does well against a Storm and Dragon Knight.
10 seconds.
Yeah, and we haven't actually seen that much Queen of Pain recently, I would say. Like, dominating a lane 1v1 these days is... dominating a ranged 1v1 is a lot more difficult because of the experience changes, now that ranged heroes get the same amount of denied experiences as melee heroes. But also, mid lane has just become a lot more active in terms of supports constantly roaming in and applying pressure. So that has sort of seen Queen of Pain fall off a little bit. But I think it's a pretty good game for her, so long as she can avoid some of the lockdown from the Storm Spirit and the Dragon Knight during fights. Should still be able to do a lot of work.
Like, the other reason, I think, actually there's also two reasons why I feel her lane presence is not so strong anymore. Bottle Crow is number one. The second reason is the mana cost of the Shadow Strike increased from 80 to 110. I feel that was also a point where it made her least effective in the laning phase as well early. You can't really spam one more fan after you cast 2 or 3 Shadow Strikes in a row, because that would cost you an extra 100 mana.
Yeah, it was a pretty hefty nerf, and you can't underestimate how much damage 1 or 2 Shadow Strikes can do. Between level 1 and level 3, it's a really heavy harassment tool. And when you're hit by the sting, it's very difficult to just sit there and trade hits against the Quap. So I think you make a very good point about why we maybe didn't see it so much.
Mostly it's like at level 5, usually in the old patch before the nerf to the Shadow Poison, you would have an extra fan, but now, because of the extra 30 mana cost, you have 1 less fan to cast in the lane. I think that's a really huge deal.
Yeah, so guys, welcome back to the Redbull ECL. This is our grand finals, DK versus IG, and this is game 1. I know that the original schedule said that we were supposed to have some StarCraft games in between game 1 and game 2, but it looks like the organizers saw sense and they actually moved the StarCraft games before the Dota games. So we're not going to be having any breaks between game 1 and game 2. We're going to be running straight through this series, though we are going to be starting off with a little bit of a pause. So over on DK, we've got Ice handling the clockwork, Mushi's going to be on the Queen of Pain, Burning on the Gyrocopter, Lamb on the Nyx Assassin, and MMY Mamoya is going to be on the Visage. And I'll leave it to Winter to handle IG.
On the Dire side, we have IG YYF playing the off-lane Tidehunter. Hao will be handling the safe lane Dragon Knight. Faith will be on Davino. Storm Spirit will be played by Ferrari 430, and Banana is heading bottom 4, and Observer Watt on the off-lane as a Chen.
Yeah, it looks like DK actually making a bit of an aggressive move to start things off. They'd like to go and place some wards down in the Chen's jungle. If not to block his camps, at least to spot him moving around. And for DK, do you think there's any chance they even consider an aggressive tri-lane here, or are they just going to go place wards and then just kind of standard lanes from there?
I don't think they'll do aggressive tri-lane because Ice is on Clockwork. He doesn't really benefit a lot of solo farm in the safe lane, so they might not do it. They certainly can, but it doesn't feel like a Timbersaw safe lane like a Clockwork. You don't really carry the game hard if you get those quick levels and good starts, so maybe they won't do it. But there's one time I saw them do it, it was very long ago. It was also against IG. The game where he was solo against Darkseer, but actually no, it was an off lane, sorry, not a safe lane. So it means that they have not done ever any safe lane Clockwork before.
Okay, so yeah, and looks like, as you said, DK just going to be sending Ice towards the offlane supports, going to be making their way down towards bot. I'm actually just hanging around mid for the time being. We'll see if he wants to maybe be a little bit of a nuisance, skill up mana burn at level 1 and run in, but no, he's actually just camping at the rune. So looks like IG didn't manage to spot this ward sitting on the back of the camp, so that's still going to be blocked out for Banana, and that might slow him down a little bit. He's already got one smoke picked up, so I think we're expecting maybe a little bit of movement towards mid early on. IG would need to get probably a Centaur or a Troll to actually be able to kill the Queen of Pain here.
I'm actually quite surprised that he didn't use the illusions. He got a very good rune to actually make life really difficult for the Chen, but he didn't try and block any of the camps. Could have actually tried to block at least one, but not too of a big deal. He's gonna head all the way back towards bottom. Do they have sentries to deward this? Oh, they have, but they already placed one.
Yeah, they've used one of them.
Still one.
Yeah, the other one's on MMY right now.
It's gonna be difficult to find because they didn't really see where the Chen placed the ward, so it's gonna be difficult for them to try and deward here. Too many possibilities of the positions of the ward to block the neutrals.
Yeah, well, we'll see if they can maybe get a lucky guess. Yeah, they can guess one, but it's a little bit more difficult now. Oh, it looks like they will just spot this one once they loop around. So a little bit of good luck there for DK, though they will have to still have a poke around to catch it.
It's gonna take them some time though. They're gonna wait maybe until 2 minutes when they see there's still no spawn, and they'll finally find the ward there, and it's gonna be minute 3 before they can get a pull off.
Yeah, and while this is happening, the creep wave is actually very safe underneath the tower for YYF. So he's getting some pretty good levels. He's almost level 3. And even once that ward on the camp gets removed, he's still got an observer ward to keep him safe. So DK actually just going to choose to bring everybody into the lane and zone out YYF a little bit underneath his own tower. Oh, and it looks like there's a TP out from ISS on top lane.
The Centaur Storm not coming on time, and he just managed to TP out barely there. And a lot of time wasted for the supports, not doing anything, not doing a pull. They just tried to gank him, but there's still a lot of room for ISS to get levels after he tries to come back to his lane. So not too bad of a big loss for him. The creep wave wasn't even pushing towards his tower, so he didn't really lose too much experience TPing back to base there.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well for himself. He's already level 3. Actually, both of the offlaners doing quite well, and DK actually choosing to place a ward up on this, over on this hill as well, nearby mid. So anticipating that they might be able to spot a smoke perhaps from the Chen, and well, it's a little bit interesting, especially since I don't think they have rune vision at all. Did they even have a? Did they place their second observer ward? No.
They don't have vision on the runes.
Which is a little bit of a tough situation to be in for the Queen of Pain. That rune control's really crucial, and DK is actually going to be able to swing down towards bot and grab a regen, so he's going to be pretty happy with that one.
Yeah, probably will be a long pause as well.
You think?
They said that they need the technical guy or something.
Oh, okay.
To see.
So more tech issues, unfortunately. So Burning actually going to end up going for boots first, just to keep the pressure down on the Tidehunter here. Yeah, and Banana's going to disconnect, so it looks like we are going to be sitting around here for a little bit. But Winter, who do you like in the long run here? It's a safe lane Storm Spirit and a mid DK, and then that's pretty much up against the Queen of Pain and the Gyrocopter. Meanwhile, we've got an Initiator on either side for the off lane. So plenty of team fight on both sides, quite a bit of late game potential. I don't think it's clear cut at all necessarily who has the advantage if they try and take this late.
Well, the Storm safe lane would be a huge factor towards the game, how the game will progress. So that's going to be all on him on IG. No one else could dictate the play as well, the Storm will. But if you look at the IG lineup, a lot of AoE damage, a lot of spell damage. So the Gyrocopter needs a BKB to participate. If he doesn't have a BKB and he participates in and gets caught by the Ravage, it's going to mean he's going to die very easily. So IG might use the window of opportunity before the BKB is up on the Gyro to maybe sneak at least 1 or 2 towers. But if the Gyro doesn't get contested too badly and he just doesn't get a drum or anything, just go for the BKB rush after maybe an Aquila, he's going to get it. Usually you get it around, if you don't die, you get it around 13, 14, 15, something around there.
Yeah, I think I agree with you that IG will probably be the ones taking the initiative early. I mean, they've got a slightly faster timing. They can start getting the Chen out of the jungle. They can start bringing down some tier 1s. And DK are just a little bit slower. The Visage, especially with this pull camp being blocked out, it's going to take him a little while to reach level 6. Same story for the Nyx Assassin. You've got two very level-dependent supports on DK. I guess the one way that they can help alleviate that is maybe once Mushi has some levels, he can flash from the jungle a bit and put one of the supports mid. Which do you think is more important to get some levels on here for DK? The Visage is obviously a little bit better for team fights and a little bit of lane pressure, but the Nyx Assassin getting that 6 makes IG just that little bit more afraid, and it gives you that extra power to move around with the Clockwork or the Queen of Pain to gank.
Yeah, both of their supports, like you mentioned, require a lot of levels. You need a lot of time before they come online, and they didn't deward this means that it's going to take them at least until minute 3 before they can start pulling. That's going to hamper their levels on the supports very badly, and the IG side are going to be looking to fight even before they get their ultimates. They can group up before the Tide Ravage with the Chain Creeps, and the Storm. The Storm is going to be the one with the most farm and very high level. The Tide would depend on the situation of the game, whether he gets his level 6 before the first fight. But IG don't really have to wait for the Tide level 6 before they try and take a tower. As long as they have Dragon Knight ultimate, Chain Creeps, they can just force a fight without the Nyx and the Visage being too useful.
Do you think this is a BKB first game for Mushi as well?
Yeah, actually.
Especially against the safe lane Storm.
It is, but you can still play this lineup without a BKB. Because like if he doesn't get an Orchid or a Hex early on, he doesn't really exert a lot of pressure towards the enemy team. But it also depends on how he wants to play the game. If he wants to join fights and make space while burning, BKB would be the ideal selection for him. But there's always the Clock and the Nyx. All of these heroes need to be ganking, and someone else has to push the lanes. So if your Queen of Pain gets a BKB, she'll feel safe to push the lanes against the Storm.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to whether or not IG are going to feel really confident to 5-man. If they're 5-manning non-stop, then I think you do need to start considering maybe going for the BKB just so you can actually get into the team fights. But otherwise, maybe you can play it in a slightly more gank-oriented style, and you know, you do definitely want a Hex or an Orchid just to make the Storm Spirit a little bit afraid, because right now the only lockdown for him is pretty much an Impale, and that's not ideal.
I think the Impale timing, if they coordinate everything right with the Familiars, they can still pick up the Storm if they get him, but it's going to be difficult for the Nyx to Impale the Storm without a Blink Dagger. So he still needs that Blink Dagger very badly, but IG is gonna not allow that to happen. They're gonna group up pretty early in this game with the Chen.
Yeah, and I guess we'll keep an eye out for what kind of build Banana's gonna end up going for here. I guess he maybe goes for Arcanes. I was about to say maybe could just go for the straight mech, but we'll see. Could even end up being the mech on the Tidehunter if things start going well.
I think they need 2 Arcanes, so probably the Tide and the Vino will get Arcanes, so that they can keep pushing with the Dragon Knight.
Yeah, and then from there, I guess you have space for the Chen to be able to go for mech first item. So we'll see what he opts for here. Banana attempted a gank towards mid lane, but the smoke wore out before they thought Mushi was in an okay position. So he just ended up backing off into the jungle. Ice. Not feeling too happy with what's going on top lane. He comes down. I think he was going to camp out the 4-minute rune a little bit as well, and is now going to poke his head into mid, just to try and make Hao a little bit afraid, see if they can get him to back off the creep wave. But no, Ice is just gonna have to trek back to top.
I think his movements as well will help. He's also hoping that he might scout out a smoke gang from IG, so the Queen of Pain would be safe. Like him standing at the river there would most likely have a very good chance of scouting on a smoke gang. So maybe he was just trying to see where the supports are, because like he doesn't have any wards on his side of the map to spot out the support, so he's just trying to use himself to try and scout out things so that Mushi can be safe and confident in the lane.
Yeah, and as we pointed out earlier, there isn't actually a rune ward down for DK, so Ice or one of the supports being a little bit more active is kind of required, just so you don't get caught out by an invis or haste, something along those lines. Hao is going to be able to throw down some damage onto Mushi here. There's also a tornado ticking him low, but he's got a salve, he's got some bottle sips, looks like he should be okay.
Yeah, he's gonna be alright. He sent us off a lot earlier, and he plays a ward as well, so that he makes sure that he can see if the storm TPs in to try and gank him. But it's gonna, if the storm uses a smoke, then he's gonna have a high chance to get caught out. Because sometimes having that ward there will be a cause of your death, because you see nothing if the enemy smokes, and you just feel that okay, you're safe. But then he only smoked himself, so you're gonna pay with your life if you just come out and farm.
Yeah, false sense of security for sure. And DK actually being pretty defensive with how they're playing this to start, though a lot of that comes back to the supports that they have. They can't really move around the map early game, so they're just going to place down some wards, try and keep 2 of their cores safe, and call that a day. How? Pops is, well, still has his dragon form up, Sting's going to come in. Looks like that double damage got denied by the Wildkin. Nicely played there by Banana.
Mushi is going to have not enough mana to move around the map to try and pick off with his fan and ultimate. So he still needs to bottle crow and wait for it to come back before he's able to assist his team. And top lane Clockwork's gonna get some levels, not too much. The Tide and the Clockwork, the difference is not much. Both of them are almost sitting at 3.5, almost to level 4. So both sides not doing too well on their offlaners. Come 6.5 minutes.
Yeah, there has been a lot of pressure from the supports from both sides. And looks like DK, they're actually going to end up prioritizing the farm on the Visage over the Nyx Assassin. So Lamb sitting down at level 2 right now. Comparatively, MMY is up at level 4. And they're even giving him a little bit of time in lane while burning ducks into the jungle to clear things out a little bit.
Yeah, this is a very good rotation from them, because he can jungle pretty much not too bad with the barrage, and the Visage is going to be getting levels pretty easily on the lane, since he doesn't really get too much from the pool anyway. So this change-up is actually quite good. He's going to be almost level 5, but the Nyx is very far behind. He's only level 2 and nothing else.
And TP coming bottom lane from Faith. Looks like he actually thinks that DK are going to be going for a little bit of a push here, so he's just reacting early. YYF is also going to be making his way back to bottom lane. Actually, no, swings over to mid. We do have Banana over here on the mid lane with a creep, but we'll see what they end up doing here. They do have a dragon form, but not a whole lot else for how, though his bottle is going to end up being delivered. So looks like they're going to try and react to pressure bottom lane by also pushing in mid. So going to try and see if they can get DK to shuffle over to mid lane as well.
There's a significant difference in the last hits as well for the Storm and the Gyrocopter. Some of it is the neutral crits, but Burning is really pulling ahead right now with the Gyro compared to the Storm Spirit.
Yeah, checking in on the net worth, he's also leading by 500, and at this early point in the game, that's actually a pretty significant difference.
That's a lot, actually. The Storm has to rely on him getting kills, because the Gyro can't really get kills early. He needs to join team fights before he can get kills, so the Storm is going to be getting potentially more gold if he's going to be able to build up a streak, get 1 or 2 kills for his team.
Oh, they get the stun up onto Banana, down he'll go. Soul Assumption damage comes in as well. How? Pops his regen. Mushi got nothing left, so won't be able to continue chasing. Ice, however, is going to run up onto the high ground, reconsiders his decision, eats a Dragon Tail, and back he'll go. But very nicely coordinated there from DK. Lamb hiding in the trees, sets up the stun. Banana probably just a little bit too far forward with his hero and gets cleaned up.
Yeah, and that was a very crucial kill as well, even though it was just on a support, but it's the first build of the game, so a lot of goal, and here it will be a lot of space for the Nyx Assassin to catch up on his levels. The Queen of Pain can actually move around right now if he wants to, but he's actually going to build into the BKB to have that safety against the team fight of IG.
Yeah, it looks like DK are anticipating that IG are going to be 5-manning fairly soon. IG making a similar move to what DK have been doing. They're actually going to put YYF up in the top lane. They really want this Ravage online as early as possible, and hopefully they'll get, for IG's sake, they'll get 2 or 3 Ravages, 2 or 3 teamfights down with Ravage before both of those BKBs are up for DK. And Burning actually being a little bit greedier with his build is going to end up going back for a drum, so that is going to delay his BKB just a little bit. But it does mean that he won't just be a liability in these early fights.
It's still alright, not too bad. Like, he didn't complete the Aquila, so it's still not too greedy. The drums is a pretty good item on the Gyro. It's very good. He benefits a lot from the movement speed and the stats as well, so it's just a little bit problem where your BKB comes a little late.
Okay, DK gonna look for this deny. No, Banana comes in with the Centaur, gets it down, Burning, jumps in. The cooldown's gonna be used, but there's just no follow-up. IG got what they came for, and they're just going to immediately retreat out. Nicely played by them.
Yeah, they got the last hit on the tower, and they're gonna maybe try not to waste things since they have everyone here. Try to push middle? No, they're not gonna do that. They're just gonna pull back and farm and try and get levels on the supports. Supports, especially the Nyx. The Clockwork is also pretty far behind, it's only level 4. DK is gonna be running around with the Invis Rune. You're gonna scout the whole team of DK, farming that camp there.
Yeah, and kind of hoping that one of these supports splits off from the group, but no, they're all gonna back off. Burning would like to stack this up again for himself one more time. Actually has enough duration on this Invis to block the camp, but that could end up being a little bit suspicious, yeah. And they've also got two heroes smoked moving in. How? Keeps on track. Roll's gonna come in from Ferrari, and this should be Burning dead for sure. Breathe Fire finishes him off.
Yeah, there was just no way that he would have known what was coming since they were smoked up as well, and the vision on the map wasn't too great as well for DK, and it's just very unexpected for him to get ganked at that position. None of his teammates were near as well.
Yeah, and DK still are just not feeling confident at all to try and take a fight. They're just continuing to place very defensive wards and trying to secure some additional farm as IG are being the aggressors. They're the one pushing in right now.
Yeah, Burning actually opts to finish the Aquila as well. Wow, this is going to greatly slow down his BKB. He's not going to have it for another 5 minutes. If considering he doesn't die.
Yeah, that Tiffy's just sitting there and farming. Ended up losing his little stack as well, so insult to injury after that death. But IG moving in, looks like they're going to grab this tier 1 Tiltley, no problem. And DK looks like they want to try and catch somebody on the retreat. Mushi's going to end up finding a haste rune. Banana actually would like to move deeper into the jungle. Meanwhile, both offlaners are just actually sitting up on top. Ice is still not even level 6. He's just sitting at 5.5 right now, so he's having a very hard time.
Yeah, all the supports on IG already have their ultimates. The Nyx doesn't have ultimate, still level 5. The Clock is also level 5. Both of them are really low level right now for DK.
Yeah, and IG, this tier 1 tower top lane should go down without too much effort. We could even maybe start looking at a medallion on the Venomancer or the Chen if they want to start moving in towards Roshan. They've still definitely got, I would say, the teamfight advantage for the time being, and they're probably going to keep on pressing it.
I think as long as the Gyro doesn't have BKB, the teamfight advantage will always be on the IG side until the time comes for the Gyro to complete his BKB.
Yeah, and they're working on a mech on Banana. He's actually getting pretty close. Looks like he's just the recipe away. Faith is going to be working on that medallion. He's actually just has a chainmail getting delivered right now, and DK still haven't even been able to try for a pickoff at all. They've got the level 6 up on their Nyx Assassin now. So they could maybe go for a smoke, send the familiars, smoke Lamb, Mushi, and the familiars, and try and find somebody. IG is 5-manning.
Smoking.
Yeah, IG
they're gonna smoke right now.
They block out the Ancients as well. Lamb is going to end up revealing the smoke. Ferrari rolls up onto the high ground. Vendetta's going to be used. So they do actually manage to reveal that one. Ferrari, can they combo him down? They jump in. The hookshot flies from Ice as the hero drops. He closes the door with the cog. Banana's going to use his Hand of God to see if they can survive through this fight. They do manage to bring down the Nyx Assassin. Faith runs in, drops the Poison Nova. Ice keeps on fighting, but Burning also joins the fray, hits the call down. YYF looks like he's going to drop. Ravage is going to end up being used. He tries to TP home, but Mushi finishes him off with a Scream. And Faith, the only one left for IG, looks like he's also going to end up falling here. The Centaur has one more stomp. Mushi, with the Scream, gets the double. Yeah,
he didn't catch Mushi. He was trying to kill Mushi. He saw Mushi there, but he didn't get him.
Ferrari with a huge zip actually gets the kill on Mushi. Wow.
That was I still consider that they lost 4 heroes. I think 5. They
lost
died
5.
As well.
They lost
everybody. Lost 5 heroes.
5 so for 3.
They still lost the fight, and DK winning the fight without BKBs on their course. It means it's going to be a huge victory for them. It puts them further closer. It puts them closer towards their BKB. If you can win a fight when you don't have BKB, you're going to win the fight for sure when you have BKB.
Yeah, and even if we call that fight even though I think it was a bit of an advantage in favor of DK, I'll Impale from Lamb gonna end up whiffing on mid lane. A little bit unfortunate.
The main thing why they lost the fight was because they couldn't get the first move in. They couldn't initiate first. The Vendetta dodged the initiation from the Storm, and he got a Impale right after towards the Storm as well. So the Storm was the one being the first one being killed off, and he actually had a lot of mana as well. He didn't contribute anything, and the Sonic Wave and the hook shot was in a very clumped up position. So IG was not going to win the fight there, and Tide was like miles away, not even near.
Yeah, and he ended up using his Ravage as well, like pretty much only to save himself.
No, he actually tried to kill Mushi. Mushi
Yeah.
was like standing far, but Mushi knew he was going to Ravage and wasn't going to blink in until he popped it.
Yeah, so that's actually going to be on cooldown for 40 seconds for IG. They're still going to go back to the original plan, which is to push a little bit up on top lane, but after that last fight, DK feeling pretty confident. They've got the Sonic Wave back up. Ice has his hookshot ready. He's managed to reach level 7. Actually going for a very spammy build here. 4 points in the Rocket Flare, only the 1 in the Battery Assault. So a bit more counter pressure, and I guess DK don't really have a whole lot of counter push, so makes sense.
I think it's a very good option here. Very good choice of selection to max the Rocket Flare, since IG is going to be the ones constantly trying to push down your towers. Having that extra points on Rocket Flare, it's just going to help you defend against the push very well. Even though at the expense that you can't really pick up the Chen alone anymore because you have only 1 point in Battery Assault. But I think it's more important for them to be able to have that extra damage from the rocket.
Yeah, IG are actually getting close to some pretty big items. They've almost got the Orchid up on the Storm Spirit. They're the recipe, well, 100 gold away from the mech up on the Chen. So next fight should be a little bit better for IG, but also a Blink Dagger up for the Tide Hunter. All that safe lane farm for YYF really paid off. And actually over in the jungle, How? He found a haste turn, he spotted out Burning. I think there's a zip coming in as well. Ferrari joins the fight and is going to be able to pick up that kill. Mushi on the hunt. Ferrari doesn't have a whole lot left, and Ice with the hookshot comes in, gets some mana back. They will be able to chase down Faith. How still has this haste turn, and Ferrari about half mana is going to be stunned. Ice keeps on moving. He's got a Battery Assault. Hand of God's going to be used, but Mushi comes in with the combo. One more right click brings him down. And How? He's still got this haste. He's got a Dragon Tail. Wraith Fire's on cooldown. YYF is going to jump in with the Blink and the Ravage. Mushi dies to the Gush. Nice Impale goes out from Lanham, and Ice with a perfect cog blocks off the ramp, and DK will be able to retreat, but ends up being 2 for 2 as the overall exchange, and DK lose their 1 and 2 position there.
Yeah, IG was hugely victorious from that. They traded a support, and they are, I would consider, 1 position Storm, since he took a lot of farm in this game. So position 1 Storm and position 5 support for 2 costs. It's still a victory for IG.
Yeah, did end up costing them the Ravage, so that's going to be on a cooldown for a little bit, but I think they should still be able to push. They've got the mech up on Banana now, and yeah, everybody from IG is just moving straight towards top. They know that Mushi's still dead, Sonic Wave's still on cooldown, so this tier 1 tower going to go down uncontested.
Yeah, and DK has a very good rune to push, Illusion Rune on his ultimate as well. Maybe they're going to be... Nope, they're not going to continue to pressure. They're just going to farm until the Ravage comes back off cooldown. And it's going to be around the same timing as the Orchid coming online as well. The mech has been completed, so they don't really need anything else already. Yeah. But the pipe actually could be a very good choice here if they want to push in the next few minutes, because the pipe will negate like the wave, the Sonic Wave, and the
down damage. Yeah.
It's really good. No one can get it early enough to be useful, to make the pipe useful though. Because like the Tide went for a blink, so he's not going to be getting anything for a while.
Yeah, maybe if somebody manages to pick up a couple of kills, you know, they've got a bunch of people who could grab it, but looks like IG. Do you think they consider just forcing a fight by going Roshan once they have the Ravage off cooldown? They're not going to get any items after they finish up, any big items for a little while, because they're just about to get the BKB and the Orchid. So this is pretty much their strongest timing, I think.
I think if they fight at Roshan, there's a chance they still lose, because DK has so much area of effect damage with the Wave and the Gyrocopter ultimate. And none of your heroes have BKB apart from the Dragon Knight. So only the Dragon Knight is going to survive that, and if the Storm can't stand and fight, the Dragon Knight alone can't take the whole team of DK unless they themselves get a very good ultimate from the Ravage. So I don't think it's safe for sure to say that IG has the advantage when the fight goes to the Roshan pit.
And Mushi doesn't end up going for a BKB. It's actually going to be a Scepter first item for him.
Oh, he actually changed his mind.
Well, maybe this was the plan all along. Oh yeah, you would have bought Point Booster.
Yeah, you would have went for the Point Booster, so
yeah,
he changed his mind.
He's not going to get the full value out of it until he reaches level 16, but still helpful, though it's 70 seconds as opposed to 40 seconds for the time being. And IG are actually just going to force a fight by heading into the pit. They're feeling pretty confident. Let's see what's going to end up happening here. DK a little bit split up. Ice is walking down to the south. Meanwhile, DK are going to try... No, not even going to try for the tier 1. Roshan's dropping too low too quickly. They're going to try and make their way in from the side, but... Looks like, nope, won't be able to get anything out of it. And they've actually managed to catch out Ice YYF with the blink, and he hasn't used Ravage yet. Ferrari gonna keep on rolling, finds Mushi, drags him back, the silence has already been used, Hand of God pops off. Ferrari gonna keep on chasing, though Mushi still with this haste. Ferrari zips in onto the low ground, they've dragon-tailed up Lamb, he's gonna drop. Double kill, Ravage goes out, they found Burning. Who can they actually bring him down here? Faith gonna run in, drops the Poison Nova and the Gale only for one. Zip in from Ferrari, gonna keep on fighting. Mamaya, the next target, Breathe Fire, brings him down. YYF survives, How gets a triple, and looks like he wants to get some birds out of this as well. But no, just gonna be Ferrari sent back to base. I think they lost the Aegis after all of that. Mushi came back in.
They did.
Yeah,
they did.
But still worth it.
His Sonic Wave picked off only the Aegis Storm, and he couldn't even finish. He could have tried to finish the Chen, but he was worried if he committed he would have died. So he didn't try even to kill the Chen.
Yeah, and overall trade ends up being 4 kills to IG, and only the Aegis picked up by DK there. IG are going to have to back off and reload before they can do anything.
I just feel it's really weird, you know, Basescape. Like he knew that he had to get a BKB early this game on a gyro, but he stopped by to pick up so many small items. The magic wand, I would say it's
drum,
on the gyro.
Aquila.
Yeah, the wand is alright, but you get a drum plus an Aquila, it's very greedy. That's a lot of money that invested already. It's 3,000 gold almost.
I think you could justify 2. 3 is maybe a bit of a stretch. And the drum is actually pretty expensive. Like, it's easy to build, but
it's actually expensive.
Its total cost is like, 1,800, so a pretty significant chunk. That could be his BKB already finished, though. Burning is going to have it fairly soon. But we'll see if that's going to be enough to turn the tides of this game at this point.
He could have like lived the last fight if he had BKB, that's for sure. And if he gets it now. He's still always worrying that, because like the game already moved away from the 5-man to take all your tier 1 towers, since your tier 1 towers are all down. And if you try and farm on the side lanes right now, and the storm zips in and tries to catch you, you would be forced to use your BKB just to survive. It already takes away some of the value of the early BKB on Gyro. Gyro is a hero that scales really well with early BKB, very powerful item on him early. And How is going to spot out Lamb here. Lamb is going to be dead.
Lamb goes down, the Shadow Blade is already picked up for the Dragon Knight. I think he'd only just barely finished his BKB before they went into the Roshan pit, but after how successfully that fight went. Already picked up the Shadow Blade. Gonna pop the Dragon Form to start working away at this tier 2. And DK, what can they do here? They're gonna drop the Sonic Wave just to clear out the creeps.
Don't think... Yeah, you didn't hit anyone.
No. And IG just unconcerned, keep on moving forward. The glyph's already been used by DK as well, just to buy enough time for the Nyx Assassin to respawn. They've got the BKB on the Gyrocopter. They get a Force Staff for Ice. So this is getting towards the point where they wouldn't mind taking a fight so much, say if the DK ultimate was down, if IG are missing one big piece of their team fight. But like you said, IG aren't really forced into taking team fights anymore at this point. They can put 2 survivable heroes at the front if something goes bad, use the send back, and DK have okay initiation. You can send the Nyx Assassin around and jump in the front with the clockwork, but engaging in headlong is still difficult, and until Mushi gets his BKB, he can't really jump into the fight until it's been set up by the rest of the heroes on his team.
IG's lineup has right now just transitioned into the Venom will mostly help them to slow down the tempo of the game, and they'll be forcing DK to try and push out the lanes, and that comes to the fact that they have a Storm. They can force DK into those sort of positions, and they will be really advantageous on that. The DK is going to Shadow Blade in. How is going to Shadow Blade in? Look for a stun on Burning.
Burning gets stunned, in comes the drag from Ferrari. There's going to be a Force Staff out, but Burning's still going to end up being hit by the Ravage a long way away from his team. He uses the BKB, but 2 more right clicks bring him down. YYF gets bounced back by the cogs. He is going to be brought down. Ferrari zipping in, Lamb to fall, more buybacks happening. Already one from Ferrari, one from YYF. Ice is going to try and retreat. Mamaya trapped in the river. Looks like he is going to be brought down. There's still a Dragon Tail waiting for How. Further on, Ferrari manages to catch up with Ice Ice Ice, and after that team fight, DK end up losing 4. I think IG lost 3 and used 2 buybacks, but Burning just got destroyed right at the start of that fight. Didn't even manage to get his ultimate off.
I think they only use 1.
No. YYF and Ferrari.
Oh, yeah. Actually 2, yeah. YYF and Ferrari. So it's still really close though. It means that they lost 3 heroes and DK lost 4, yeah.
Yeah.
3 to 4.
Yeah, and almost every cooldown used, aside from the gyrocopter ult. But that's Burning's first BKB. And IG are actually going to be the ones to get something out of that fight. They were a little bit advantaged, and they are going to be able to grab a tier 2. So just continuing to pull ahead, and that BKB needed to be the turning point, Winter. So what did DK have left now? Do you think they still have a good shot in this game, or are they starting to feel the pressure a little bit?
They can still definitely win the game, but the momentum of the game will be on IG. Like, the game has opened up right now, all the towers down, and you try to push out your lanes and you can't see the storm, you're gonna be afraid all the time.
Yeah, and in terms of vision for DK, what do we got going on? It's actually still alright, though there is a gem over on Faith, so as I say that, he's going to be doing a little bit of dewarding for now and sending DK into the dark. This ward up on the top side of the map is also about to fade. And like you said, this is where it starts to get pretty scary for DK. They're already down on farm, so they can't afford to just sit back behind their tier 3s and tier 2s and wait out the game. They do have to try and make some plays here, and let's see what they can find.
Yeah, the X Scepter on Mushi was actually very, very weird too. They needed to fight and they needed BKBs. Now does he have a Mitchell hammer? No, he has a recipe, but he's still quite far from the hammer. 1,000 gold away, 1,200 gold away.
Yeah, especially with that deny mid from IG, just continuing to do economic damage. DK are still yet to get a last hit on a tower, and they've only got 1 outer tower remaining. So if DK can win a fight, they can start to turn around this 10k gold deficit, but IG is one of those teams where you give them an advantage, and they're very unlikely to give it away. They'll really be reading into the fact that they know that DK have to make a play at this point, and they're just not giving them a chance.
Yeah, DK has to be the ones trying to group up and push, because if they try to farm alone, they are going to be at risk at getting picked off by the storm. And they don't have a BKB on the Queen of Pain, so no BKB Queen of Pain means she can't speed push. And Gyro is always feeling insecure, if you are forced to pop your BKB just to TP away from the storm. So they just choose to group out right now.
DK just going to try and 5-man. They'd like to get a bit more tower gold in their pockets. How is sitting down bottom lane, just grabbing a little bit of farm, but he's ready to TP in if the rest of his team engages. TP's in fairly defensively. YYF moves in. He's got the blink, throws up the gush onto Burning. The Dragon Tail is going to be used. Can they get him back to safety? No. The drag comes out. Mamaya walks in. Ice 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 drops the hook shot, catches YYF. Burning going to keep on fighting. Did manage to get the call down. This time around, it's 1-for-1 so far. They also end up losing YYF. Banana going to keep on fighting. Nukes flying in both directions. But Banana's still alive. Lamb ticking down. Further back, we are going to end up having Mushi dying in the trees, and ends up being 4-for-2 as the final trade. Lamb, the only survivor from Team DK.
The way the fight started didn't really favor DK at all. The gyrocopter before doing anything got to so low again. He popped his BKB when he's about to die.
Yeah,
this was the same thing at middle lane as well.
Yeah, exact same fight pretty much, and same story afterwards. IG just gonna be able to pick up a tier 2 tower, it seems, for free. DK heroes respawning soon, but I don't think soon enough. They do have a glyph to use, so maybe a small opportunity to try and catch something here, but no, looks like IG too savvy about what's going on. They're just gonna back off and stay very safe. And again, DK just kind of left wondering, well, where do we go from here? We have to try and make the same play. We have to try and get a pick off. We have to try and get some more towers. Do whatever we can to get back into this game. Though IG are looking at Roshan very soon, 50 seconds until he respawns, and How is getting really big. He's already got Crystallis and a Hyperstone picked up.
Yeah, this is not... It doesn't look like a solo mid DK. He's just so farm. He got so many kills mainly. That's why he's just so big right now. The Storm on the safe lane isn't particularly farmed. He died a few times and bought out twice, I think, as well in this game.
But as soon as he
So
gets his BKB, he's going to be sticking around a lot longer in these fights.
yeah, definitely. The BKB is as strong on the Dragonite and as strong as on the Storm as well. They both need the BKBs to be able to stand and deal a lot of damage against the Soul Assumption spam and the Nyx as well. So the BKB from the Storm Nyx is gonna be a huge weapon for IG, and the Roshan timing will sync with the BKB timing on the Storm as well. So IG is gonna, with the Aegis and the BKB, it's gonna be a really hard fight for DK to win.
Yeah, Mushi did just get a little bit of a leg up. He just finished up his BKB as well, so should be able to do quite a bit more in this next team fight. He's also pretty close to level 16, so he's got that 40-second cooldown coming up soonish. Ice is still kind of languishing down at level 11. He's just, even if he initiates into these fights, he survives for all of 4 or 5 seconds. And I guess the one thing that's also worth mentioning is the last 2 fights that have gone disastrously for DK, it's just because IG have been the ones getting the initiation down. You know, like we've talked about, Burning just keeps getting focused down to 10% before he can even use his BKB. IG into the Roshan pit, he's down at 50%. How is going to end up popping his ult just to try and speed this along. DK moving in, smoked. They drop a Sentry Ward. The BKB is going to be used this time around by Burning, but can he actually get inside the hit? The hookshot comes in from Ice, but he's just being splashed down as well. Burning's going to fall. How just keeps on going. Dragon Tails up MMY. He's going to fall. They get a stun out from Lamb, but 3 for nothing. And that was just a disaster for DK. They ran into the pit, but the only person that was there was the Dragon Knight, and he just killed Burning and Ice right out.
And they even lost the Familiars as well, and Visage
and the courier
won't have his ultimate up. Okay, IG's not gonna push. They're gonna just push out all their lanes, wait for the next Dragon Knight ultimate before they go again. DK is just, I just feel the BKB timings are not supposed to be that late. It's supposed to be very early BKB from the Queen of Pain and Gyro, and you take fight against the Ravage and the Vino ultimate. But they just didn't have BKBs to fight early, and they lost a lot of fights and then get the BKB. So the value of the BKB after was not as strong as if they got the BKB very early as their first item.
Yeah, and even the Aghanim Scepter I think is a first item for Mushi. Like, yes, it helps you spam down some waves, but the total contribution to a team fight, you know, when he got it, was just a little bit of extra damage, right? At least if it had his BKB, he probably could have got a couple more screams down, being a bit more aggressive. Or if he'd gotten an Orchid, I guess there's a chance that you silence the Veno or the Storm Spirit and save your team a lot of damage in that way. But yeah, I think going back to it, the Aghanim Scepter still seems really strange to me. But anyway.
Yeah, I just think in the early field fights I was mentioning, he could have killed heroes, but because he didn't have BKB, he didn't want to go in and try and kill heroes because he was worried that he would die to the Dragon Tail and there's a Storm and a Ravage. Like, if he has a BKB, it will be confident for him to just blink in and just take the kill.
Yeah, so IG just back off fairly safely. Like you mentioned, they were waiting around for that Dragon form to be back off cooldown. Chen's ultimate is only 20 seconds away, and I'm actually even surprised that they waited for anything here, given that they still had the Ravage up for the Tide after that fight. They still had Poison Nova, but IG are just playing super safe. They know that they are a long way ahead right now.
Yeah, they don't want to be making mistakes. I still think if they make a wrong step, IG could still lose the team fight badly if they make a wrong step.
Yeah, it feels like they do have quite a few opportunities left, though, to make a misstep and then still win the game. So we'll see.
Yeah, they have at least 1 or 2 chance of losing fights. But if they lose one fight with 5-man wipe, then it's going to be only one mistake they can make.
Yeah, there's a couple of streaks to be ended here and there, so definitely things to be watching out for IG. But they're going to push in for this tier 2. DK have a glyph, but nobody is sitting behind the tower. They're just going to be grabbing a little bit of extra farm. Mushi manages to reach his level 16, so they can siege this for a while. The familiars are going to try and push out mid lane, but there's a kind of annoying Dark Troll over here doing a little bit of split pushing of his own. So we have the most awkward split push lane ever over at mid. And IG get the tower, just going to back off. Are they close to any big items? YYF has a BKB. We've got a pipe completed for the Chen, and it doesn't look like it gets much better for IG at this point. Maybe you have a Veil of Discord on the Venomancer, but even that isn't too far away right now.
Yeah, I really like the selection of the pipe on the Chen this game because no one else can actually use their money to buy it. And the tide really needs the BKB against all the stuns from DK. Storm's gonna try and look for someone with the zip, but not gonna find anyone. And they're gonna siege right here. Maybe the next wave they're gonna pop that pipe as well. Oh, they're just gonna pop it right now.
Yeah, looks like they feel that they can just commit to get the tier 3 this time around. Burning walks in, he's going to be dragged back, they're going to throw in a Gale. Ravage comes in from YYF, catches almost everybody. Ice is already initiated, but Burning, already brought down by the right click. Faith gets bounced off the cog, it's 2 dead so far. Ferrari uses BKB, Malmaya in some trouble, will be able to retreat, the tier 3's down, and IG not going to dive too far. They get the buyback out of Burning, Ferrari zips out of the call down. How going to keep on fighting, the mech gets used from the Visage, he is going to end up eating a silence along with a Gush, will be brought down. Burning's BKB wears off, finished off by the Chen, Test of Faith, and with that DK going to call the GG in game 1.
Yeah, it's just they can't really take the fights anymore because the gyrocopter keeps getting picked off. Like, it's very easy for them to pick him off at the start of a fight. The Storm zips in, and if you BKB, they just back off. They don't really have to commit anything. That's the problem with the situation there. If he BKB, so what? IG doesn't lose anything. They just back off and wait for your BKB to run up, and they just go again.
And there just wasn't anybody that... Ice got a couple of nice hook shots in the game, but they just... It doesn't really matter. If you hookshot the Dragon Knight, he just pops everything and starts the fight anyway. The Tidehunter is always sitting on the back line, so he's very difficult to get to. And if you hookshot the Storm, well, he's just going to zip away immediately as well. So, DK, well, not the best game for them. We'll see if they can turn things around a little bit in game 2. Again, it's only a best of 3. And we should probably get a move on Winter just in case, just because we're 2 minutes behind, so we can get into the lobby.
I'm in the game already.
Yeah? What? It's...
Yeah.
Wait, the game has started?
No, I mean, you're in the lobby, sorry.
Okay, so I'm going to jump out of this. I guess we can keep chatting. Thank you everybody for tuning in. This is the Redbull ECL. It's going to wrap it up for game 1, DK versus IG. And yeah, I'm going to keep on chatting as we jump out here, just to make sure that I do make it into this lobby.
Don't worry, only 2 players in the lobby.
Okay.
You have a lot of time.
Okay, sweet. So, Winter, any closing thoughts? Anything that you really want to see differently for DK in the next game?
DK maybe, I don't know man, like Queen of Pain seems like if you don't win the lane very hard, because she didn't really win the lane very hard, like the Chen was just helping the DK a lot, and it doesn't seem like the co-op had a really huge impact in the particular game, and she was just being used as a hero that tries and push out lanes but is afraid at the same time, and in the end Mushi went for the option of going for Acceptor, which gives in hit points and just a better ultimate. But like you said, without the level 16 Acceptor Sonic Wave, you don't really get the value out of that item. And I don't think that's the best selection for that game as well, the choice of items. I felt that the early BKB would be, if they wanted to mount a defense of their early tier 1 towers, they needed the early BKBs.
So thank you very much everybody for tuning in. That's going to wrap it up for game 1. As you can of course see, we are just sitting in the lobby right now, so game 2 is going to be coming up fairly soon. Thank you, and yeah, we'll see you soon.